Psychosocial disability refers to the disability that arises when people with a mental health condition experience social barriers to living a full and meaningful life. The term indicates a shift from the traditional way of looking at mental illness, which inadvertently places the blame and responsibility on the suffering individuals when it refers to them as patients. Instead, psychosocial disability brings into the conversation an understanding of how social structures, attitudes, and strictures affect those who either come from structurally excluded communities or have gone through traumatic experiences that have overwhelmed their capacity to deal with life challenges. MH360 Degree is a mental health festival conceptualized by the Red Door in collaboration with CREA and other partners that understands and seeks to strengthen the psychosocial understanding around mental health while also including cross disability perspectives. The objective of MH360 Degree is to provide an inclusive and safe celebratory space for people with diverse identities, along with access to life affirming and empowering conversations around psychosocial disability, while understanding the effect of the larger social milieu on individual suffering. In the 2023 edition of the festival, a diverse and outspoken panel of young changemakers were featured who reflected on the role of systemic exclusion and social injustice in creating adverse psychosocial experiences. The panel featured Tao Yala, Sonali Khan, Soumya Mishra, Meenal, Hamida Syed, and Nalini Balakumar, moderated by Arushi Mahajan. It also featured in this video is Vino.
The experience of being excluded particularly impacts the emotional well-being of those from structurally excluded communities. Here are some reflections of individuals from these communities. The distress created when you are looked at as an outsider. Picture of Toyala. Text: Toyala is a Nyeshi tribal woman from Arunachal Pradesh who works in the arts, culture, and heritage sector in Delhi. The outsider tag has resulted in Yala learning to keep her grievances to herself, for fear of being targeted.
I was 15 years old and I went to Mysore for my schooling. So when I was in Mysore, a classmate of mine got into an altercation with local boys because boys being boys. So the local boys beat him up, and the organizers, the school authorities' solution was to suspend the Arunachali boy for his safety. But it's easier to target that one person who is not a localite rather than suspending all the other boys who are localites. So when you hear such incidents, you start, as a small teenage girl, as a young teenage girl, I understood that I have to, even if I have some complaints regarding my background, if someone has made me uncomfortable, I'm not supposed to speak out because that will only result in me being kicked out. And I cannot afford to go back home because I'm here to study. I have to make a better life for myself and for my own family.
The distress created when society rejects you. Picture of Sonali. Sonali Khan is a 24-year-old trans woman residing in Delhi. After facing family rejection in her late teenage, leading to her homelessness, she charted her educational path, and today, Sonali is the founder and CEO of the GLAD Foundation, which fosters inclusive workplaces and empowers transgender individuals through mentorship and job placements.
Because being a transgender woman in India is not easy. And then people like me who are out there, not everyone are so privileged to have things that a lot of people, and especially me also. I believe personal comes from the family which you are from, where you don't get accepted, the society you live in, you don't feel accepted, even the government political view, if you see, there are laws which are not which should not have, because as a human being, first, I should have all the basic rights what any other person have. So for us to even get a basic things like housing, like Aadhaar card, PAN card, passport, we have to fight. And it's been, I'll give you an example of me. It's been almost a year. December 2022, I have applied for passport and still I have not get it. So just imagine how difficult it is for me to get just a single document that you can just go once and get it like within a month. So that difficult it is for me to just get a passport. Even for the Aadhaar card, I have to go and fight in the center for 6 months to get the Aadhaar card. So these kind of things shows how difficult it is for us just to get the basic things. Even the housing. I was looking for a house very recently. None of the owner was ready to give me the house. So these kind of things which I believe makes life little more difficult for a trans person.
Picture of Vinodhan. Text: A makes Vinodhan is an intersex Dalit disability rights activist from Tamil Nadu, with more than a decade of experience in activism in the areas of gender, intersex rights, caste, PWD, and socio-economic and cultural-based discrimination and violence. They are the founder of Voice India, an advocate for the rights of their micro-marginalized community.
Intersex people, disabilities, and Dalit persons who are very micro-marginalized in the common society. We are facing lots of mental health and physical health issues. This project highlights the lived experience of people who are the micro-marginalized and their physical and mental health issues and their needs, rights of the invisible communities. We are facing the discrimination and bullying in the workplace, educational institutions, and society at large. Multiple marginalization means multiple discriminations, and to overcome, survive, and secure our rights, we must all work together.
Text: Soumya, an Oxfam Young Fellow, is a passionate development professional focusing on amplifying marginalized voices through digital platforms. Soumya hosts Atypical Dikkate, a podcast that highlights the stories of queer disabled individuals in India.
Onus is on me to accommodate, to mold myself in order to access spaces. I have to mask in order to fit in, to access opportunities, right? And it impacts, because then it leads to sensory overwhelm, and then I have to do a whole routine in order to, just feel regulated again. So yeah, trying to navigate systemic exclusion 24/7 without a break ultimately impacts you. It took me around 11-12 years to get a diagnosis, and that was also because I was put in a position where I had to quit my job. They didn't fire me directly, but they put me in a position where I had to quit my job when I wanted to have a discussion about accommodations, when I opened up about my neurodivergence. So the personal is political when it affects you financially, emotionally, politically. It took 11 years to get a diagnosis, and I don't have the energy to fight for another disability certificate to avail benefits. So that's what it means to me when being queer and autistic impacts all walks of my life. Systemic exclusion, microaggressions are everywhere, and it's natural to experience emotional distress. But what hurts is that it's individualized. Ultimately, the onus comes on the person to mask, to fit in. It's kind of like a square peg in a round hole kind of situation. It's individualized and pathologized. You have to fix yourself. You have to fit in. And that's where I think most of the hurt comes from. It's fundamental right to be able to live with dignity and respect.
Text on screen.
One of the factors in people's emotional well-being is how safe they feel within society and how openly they can live their reality. When society rejects one for various reasons, it leads to emotional distress. However, mainstream Psi industries tend to look at the experience of emotional breakdowns as an individualized problem, and the individual is often given a psychiatric label. The message that goes out is that there is a weakness in the individual that results in emotional distress, and there is no conversation on larger societal structures that gave birth to the distress in the first place. This is demonstrated in the next video with a specific focus on the queer community.
Picture of Meenal. Text: Meenal is a practicing counseling psychologist and is especially committed to working with individuals from sexual, gender, religious, and caste minorities. She has worked on a study focusing on a structurally excluded community, the queer community, to understand the impact of exclusion on them.
60% of my queer respondents had or were facing clinical depression, what is termed as clinical depression, as opposed to 37% of their cishet counterparts. 71% of my queer respondents were facing clinical anxiety as compared to about 53% of my cishet respondents.
Meenal, could you just describe cishet for the audience?
Sure. When I say cishet, I mean cisgender heterosexual respondents. And when talking about stress, about half of my queer respondents were facing clinical stress, and close to that number, 38% of the cishet respondents were facing stress. Not only were the numbers higher, not only were a larger percentage of the queer population facing these issues, the score of these issues or the intensity of these issues faced was also unfortunately higher for the queer individuals. Resilience is something that we talk about, which is our ability to bounce back from adversity or from a negative event. Resilience was also lower for queer individuals. What is interesting to note is, and quite unfortunate, is that resilience was lower among women in the cishet sample. So the more minority identity you have, the more unfortunate you are.
Why narratives matter? Nalini and Hamida share their experience with the mainstream mental health support system, where their personal narratives of emotional distress were invalidated, compounding their feelings of distress. Nalini Balkumar is a visual artist and photographer based in Mysore, India. Her interests lie in exploring family history, memory, and trauma through psychosocial geographies as well as physical geographies. She works with intermedia practices such as photography, cyanotypes, and embroidery.
Patients and their lived experiences aren't taken seriously. For example, I understood that the way some doctors define sexual harassment and the way that trauma manifests in survivors is completely different from the way we survivors see it. There is a gap in the way some doctors look at diagnoses and the way patients actually experience these illnesses. We are patronized when they see us experience our traumas. I also strongly believe that our ideologies or how we see the world need to match with the medical practitioners we wish to seek help from. Because we can't be wasting our time explaining what sexual harassment is or why my caste location is important in understanding intergenerational trauma. In totality, my experience of accessing support with my mental and emotional health has been me trying to convince some of the professionals that my caste location, my gender, my queerness matters. As my therapist says, therapy is not a neutral space. Mental health is political.
Picture of Hamida. Text: Hamida Syed is a freelance journalist and gender consultant based in New Delhi. She explores stories of justice through the intersection of identities, cultures, and power.
Personal relationships, and to a very large extent, even with my family members, I was beginning to wear a mask. And of course, we're human. We're not supposed to wear a mask. We're supposed to be ourselves. And that affected me. So in my first conversation with my therapist, I told her that sometimes I feel like if I remove the mask, I'm doing a great disservice to my community and a great disservice to God. And I remember what she had said. She said, but God doesn't exist, Hamida. Why is it that Muslim communities, or even any community that believes in any certain form of God, wants to believe in God in the first place? Why is it that they believe God should be a central part to their experiences? And how is it that they feel God is the person or the supernatural being who can respond to them when social structures around them, when therapists around them, when people around them don't understand them at all?
MH360 Degree, the mental health festival conceptualized by the Red Door in collaboration with CREA and other partners, takes a cross-disability perspective to mental health. It believes that bringing in multiple discourses helps us formulate a more powerful response to issues within psychosocial disability. It also helps bring in the emotional distress that comes from the disabled realities of PWD. This year, MH360 featured members of Crossroads Collective in an open mic session, bringing a powerful cross-disability, cross-social location perspective to the discourse. Crossroads Collective is a pan-India online group run solely by and for Dalit Bahujan people with disabilities, chronic conditions, mental health issues, caregivers, and queer trans persons. The collective aims to initiate cross-movement dialogues through art, research, and advocacy. The onus was laid at the door of society to become more enabling of those with different realities, particularly addressing different layers of structural exclusion, including casteism and ableism.
जय सावित्री, जय संविधान। मेरा नाम रिहाना मंसूरी है और मैं बुंदेलखंड क्षेत्र में काम करती हूँ, खासकर दलित और मुस्लिम पशमंदा समाज की महिलाओं के साथ। पशमंदा समाज में महिलाओं को अपने अभी भी संविधान के 75 साल 80 साल होने को हैं आज़ादी के, लेकिन आज भी अपनी स्वतंत्रता को लेकर वो बात नहीं कर पाते हैं। इसमें कुछ है जो पितृसत्ता की बात कर रही हूं मैं। जो भी समाज के नियम बनाए गए हैं, खासकर मुस्लिम समाज के, उसमें ज्यादातर जो भागीदारी है वो पुरुषों की है। बात कर रही हूँ पसमंदा समाज जो आज भी पिछड़ा हुआ है, उनकी महिलाओं को आज भी पढ़ने की आज़ादी नहीं है। वो स्कूली शिक्षा से दूर रखी जाती है, उनको धार्मिक शिक्षा की तरफ ज्यादा धकेलने का प्रयास किया जाता है, और वो भी किन के द्वारा, कभी धर्म के द्वारा, कभी समाज के द्वारा। उनको पर्दा प्रथा हो और भी बहुत सारी रूढ़िवादी जो धारणाएं हैं उनसे उनको बांधा जाता है। कभी हमें समाज के द्वारा पर्दा के लिए प्रताड़ित किया जाता है कि आप पर्दे में रहिए, और अगर हम वो पर्दा लेकर चलते हैं तो कभी हिजाब को लेके बहुत सारी, जो हम देख रहे हैं, हिजाब को लेके बहुत सारी समस्याएं हो रही हैं। और अगर हम हिजाब लेके चलते हैं तो हमें ऐसे देखा जाता है कि हम इस समाज के अंश हैं ही नहीं, और इस समाज से हमको दूर रख के देखा जाता है। मैं स्वास्थ्य की बात कर रही थी, मानसिक और शारीरिक स्वास्थ्य की। तो महिलाएं आज भी, खासकर मुस्लिम समाज की महिलाएं, अपने जो पर्सनल केयर है उसके ऊपर बात नहीं करती, या अपने मानसिक विचारों को विकसित करने की बात करना चाहें तो लोग बोलते हैं आज भी मुस्लिम समाज में कि ये बिगाड़ने की बात कर रहे हैं, लोगों को, लड़कियों को एक अलग दिशा देने की बात कर रहे हैं।
मेरा नाम कुलदीप बौद्ध है और मैं यूपी बुंदेलखंड से हूँ। हमारे साथी रिहाना ने जो बात रखी मैं उसमें आगे जोड़ूंगा। और मैं उस गाँव से आता हूँ जहाँ से फूलन देवी का जन्म हुआ था। मैं दलित समुदाय से आता हूं, और दलित समुदाय के बच्चे होने के नाते जो मैंने फीलिंग किया कि बचपन से ही जाति हमारे लिए एक मानसिक उत्पीड़न और मानसिक शोषण का कारण बन जाती है। गांव में बोला जाता है कि ये तो उस जाति का लड़का है। मैं कक्षा 5वीं में था, मुझे नहीं मालूम मैं दलित हूं, मैं कौन हूं, लेकिन जिस स्कूल से 5 पास का सर्टिफिकेट लिया, मेरे पिताजी ने मेरा नाम कुलदीप सिंह लिखाया था, लेकिन टीचर्स ने उस नाम को काट के कुलदीप कुमार कहा कि इस गांव में सिर्फ ठाकुर ही लिख सकते हैं, दलित नहीं लिख सकते। तो उस बचपन से वो मानसिक प्रताड़ना और मानसिक स्वास्थ्य पे जो प्रहार किया जाता है, आज भी बहुजन फाउंडेशन जहाँ पे बुंदेलखंड के जालौन, झांसी, ललितपुर, महोबा, बांदा, चित्रकूट, हमीरपुर डिस्ट्रिक्ट में यहाँ पे काम करता है, 500 से ज्यादा ऐसे दलित लड़के लड़कियों को हम लोगों ने आइडेंटिफाई किया है जिनके साथ डिस्क्रिमिनेशन हुआ, स्कूल से बाहर चले गए और वो मेंटल हेल्थ के पूरी तरीके से शिकार हो गए। तो सोसाइटी ही हमको एक्सेप्ट नहीं कर रही है, कास्टिज्म के कारण हम हाशिए पर जा रहे हैं। तो हम कैसे इक्वलिटी की बात करेंगे, कैसे बराबरी की बात करेंगे, कैसे समानता की बात करेंगे?
What I would want each one of you here to take away from this panel is read up on us, whatever all of us spoke about. Don't just wait for panels like this to happen where you can educate yourself. Do it on a daily basis, because the mainstream media is not going to do it for you. You will have to pick it up, take the onus on yourself to educate yourself. Thank you.